Do you mind? I'm listening to the radio.
This is where the magic happens.
Oh, shut up!
Cary Harrison, preventing truth decay.
Truth decay.
Reality Check Live.
Starting live
There we go.
video.
Starting live video.
We are live, people.
Welcome,
All right.
people watching live video.
Well, this is what we do. We are all about transparency here, so you get to see us in the nakedness
You guys do.
Almost.
of our truth.
Woo!
Wow. I don't see nipple.
How's no nipples?
Good. I could have gotten a few more.
Back to
I'm
Mercy.
from Vegas.
Oh, hey.
Woo!
Nice.
So let's move your mic
Yes,
because
that's a good
we're going to
idea.
use our
As you
stage
probably
voices.
wanna
Our
speak,
stage
right?
voices.
Yes, stage
Like
voices.
this.
That's right. In a world.
Oh, scorns in a world. We're only the
They
love of
still
one
do
dog.
that. They
Yeah.
still do that in trailers. In a
Yeah.
world. It's like we're in that world. There is no fake world anymore.
Well,
In a world.
In a world where democracy doesn't yes.
Where's Vic?
alright. Alright, we'll start with you and you'll be on this camera.
Yes, sir.
So.
And I will behave.
You better.
I know that.
You better.
You can even walk behind him if you want
Oh.
Okay.
and shoot right over the top of his head.
Hello. Oh.
Speaking of head, how was your weekend?
Yeah.
Well.
Free from scabies,
It's
we
looking
hope.
up.
The scabies story was horrible.
That was horrible.
Too bad we hadn't known about that one.
Yeah, too bad we weren't live at that time.
Yes, that's
People
right.
could have gotten some medical knowledge that they might not have.
Very
known.
important medical knowledge.
Be aware.
You don't want to have that.
your
Especially, how
sheets.
old was she?
Well, she's a former model. Let's see. when
Former model in a nursing home who died from being eaten alive by scabies.
Not the way you want to go.
No.
No.
I lost it.
So apparently this old lady had been doing the hokey pokey with...
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
She was 93.
Well, there's no way for a 93-year-old lady to get scabies.
Rebecca
unless-
Zinni.
Rebecca Zinni. So, you know, these old guys, because Viagra, it's easy.
Yeah.
And when you're 90 and you take Viagra, that, what used to be a water carrier, once again becomes a flagpole. And there's poor Mrs. Zinni, 93, laid out in her pillow, snoring. And he comes in and he goes, "Hey, Toots." She goes, "What?" And that's how she got it.
I'm gonna hope that it was at her initiation.
Yeah, that would be good.
I want that to have at least been true, because if you make it to 93 and then you're felled by scabies, I mean,
What a way to go.
what a way.
Just clawing yourself to shreds.
Ah,
Oh, poor lady.
ah,
Me and Tony agree. Poor lady.
poor.
Oh, poor lady. Poor Zinni.
But
Undeserved.
93, I mean, she's good for her.
Yeah.
Let's hope she got on her walker and went clop, clop down the hallway to his room.
I'm really enjoying picturing
I
that.
like that too.
Yeah,
She
just
said,
like
"I want to
a
sit
cocoon
on
kind of
top."
situation. Reverse
You're gonna have
cowgirl.
to help me.
Sonny,
Watch my bad hip.
listen, child. Watch my
All
own.
This is G-rated.
This has gone.
G for
Yeah. Grotesque.
grotesque.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, I got that on tape, so good. All right,
Alrighty.
here we
How many
go.
viewers have we lost in the last 2 minutes?
We could only do this.
Well, I'd be captivated personally. if
I
was
am
watching.
too.
Ah,
All right, here we
Maybe we'll go
go.
from democracy to scabies.
Ah,
it's your medical minute.
Okay.
all right, we go when ready.
Harris, what are we talking about? Oh, democracy. Cary Harrison here with you. This is Reality Check Live, realitychecklive.org, and of course, all social media at RealityCheckLV, which stands for live, at RealityCheckLV. Sitting with Mercy Malick, and we're taking a peek at democracy because we've got, well, this alleged blue wave gonna happen, it's not gonna happen, and really it can only happen if it's a wave, not a trickle or a droplet, which means people have to go vote. What we saw recently with the, just in the past number of weeks, in fact, when the Parkland kids showed up, we saw by the hundreds of thousands, and then we had the recent walkout of school, where they left. And it wasn't because, well, they're playing hooky. No, when they walked out, they were getting registered to vote.
Right.
Which means if they actually show up and do that voting, it's going to work. Now, let's understand, what does voting mean when you do it in big droves? We saw in Alabama our favorite Judge Roy Moore, pedophile in chief, banned from the local shopping malls because he liked to do the little gropey task and well beyond what we'll never even know. He was a guy famously in the late 1990s when I was just doing early reporting. He was being filleted onto the judge's bench.
That detail escaped me, and it makes his failed attempt all the sweeter.
While the Ten Commandments were delightfully and voluptuously hanging over his head, as opposed to a noose, which became a noose because 97% of African-American women showed up in Alabama and he went away. This goes to show that despite the gerrymandering, despite all of this stuff, if you show up in sufficient numbers, it will work.
Cary, I want to go back to the underdesk fellation for a second.
Yes, of
was
course.
that widely known publicly but not in the media? Or how was that kept out of the media? Or was it in the media and still no one cared because he was the Republican?
No one cared, and I was in Florida at the time, so he was a Yankee up in Alabama, north of us.
Wow.
And I was fascinated with this guy. He was not particularly controversial, but I was appalled, as were...
Underdesk fellation. Not
as
controversial.
Were four other people that weren't in pickup trucks with rebel flags and shotguns in the back window, that somebody was hanging the Ten Commandments in a courtroom. That's we the people, the
Right.
Ten Commandments.
Separation of church and
You know,
state.
and it's not just maybe you're Jewish, maybe you're Buddhist, maybe you're nothing. And, the founding daddies were deists, not Christians, deists. And the only example of any religiosity whatsoever is in the rotunda. And it's right up on the ceiling in a circle, and it looks more like Quakerism, sort of this inner light. That's it. Ain't no Jesus, ain't no God. I'm not making a declarative religious statement. I'm saying the founding daddies, because remember, King George was the head of the church, and we were saying bye-bye to the king. So you have to say goodbye to the head of the church. And then you're at the self-serve pump after that.
Well, and in theory, if you believe in the Constitution, it doesn't matter if someone is in agreement with your particular religion or not. Because if you are the one who's on top today, you might be the one who's on bottom the next day.
And we're not saying anything against bottoms.
We're not, in no way am I intending to denigrate that any sort of position that you might choose to take.
Doggy, missionary.
In any number of different situations. But the point being, if you believe in the Constitution, you believe in separation of church and state.
Yes.
Many things should be together. Church and state, we believe, should be separate in America. So when you say, it's separation of church and state, except for I'm going to hang the Ten Commandments in my room, you've violated it irreparably. It just can't happen.
Harrison with you. This is Reality Check Live, realitychecklive.org. Social media at Reality Check LV. We're talking a little bit about voting, and we're going to actually get to the point, although we have very much enjoyed the lead up, the foreplay up to the plot of the play here, and that is that people feel so disenfranchised, and they should. Gerrymandering is real. The Bernie voters here in Los Angeles, where we're based, we saw in the state of California during the primaries, it was Hillary versus Bernie, and then you had Trump on the other side. And we saw Bernie voters, just specifically as a numerical proposition, which is what we're discussing. We're not saying one's better than the other, but tens of thousands of Bernie voters were purged off the rolls by apparently the DNC at the time. Including me.
Including Cary Harrison.
My entire street vanished off the voting map. Yes, it's true.
Fascinating. So at this point, I should say full disclosure, I began as a volunteer for the Sanders campaign and then became an employee after that. But my experience of the primary day in California in 2016 was being awoken abruptly by my phone completely going off. And I start answering, and it's person after person that I knew from within the campaign, people who are well educated, who know how to fill out a voter registration form, such as yourself, saying they won't let me vote. They won't let me vote. My name's not on the roll. The name's not on the roll. It was astonishing. This wasn't a couple of people. It wasn't a little smattering of people. It was most of the people that I had been working with at fairly high levels. So all day long, I never left my house, Cary, except when I myself went to vote. I'm there in my pajamas, just phone, telling people, go down to Norwalk. They must give you...
Norwalk is a city outside of Los Angeles.
Quite a drive, not a lunchtime trip, right? But if you drove to Norwalk, they were required to give you an actual physical ballot. If you were at your regular polling place, all they would give you is provisional. And as we know, provisionals...
Yeah, they were invented during the Bush administration, provisional ballots, because apparently a couple of 100,000 people of color had been purged off the voting rolls.
Strangely.
So the Bush administration, through the famous John Ashcroft, one of my superheroes, came up with the provisional ballot, which is you could walk in, you could say, oh, look at that, I've been purged off the voting rolls. Oh, we're so sorry, Mr. Smith. Here's a make-believe provisional ballot. And under the Bush administration, they don't actually need to be counted. They don't actually need by law to be counted. So never, may I underscore that, never get a provisional ballot. So let's talk about the solution here, Mercy. Right. Overwhelming numbers. All these kids that were registered that walked out of their classrooms to boycott the NRA, to boycott simply being shot while sharpening their pencils and doing art class, walked out and were registered to vote. How do we get them to actually remember that there was a reason they were registered and to show up?
I think that consistent activism is a really important thing. And this might be controversial, what I'm about to say, but there's been a sort of movement, at least on social media in recent years, saying denigrating certain topics that people become active in as not important enough. Or, oh, you're interested in Save the Silkworm. You should be interested in clean water internationally. Clean water internationally is vital. But doorway activism is a real thing. And I think it's the tiny step that keeps people aware, that keeps them educating themselves, that prevents them from just throwing up their hands and being like, I can't create clean water anywhere. I'm just going to play video games and whatever. Nothing wrong with playing video games. I'm saying in exclusion of being aware, being active, it is vital that we don't attack people for something that they feel passionately about, even if we feel that it's a small issue, etc. Because being an engaged citizen is what leads to being an engaged citizen, which leads to voting, which leads to making sure that your community counts your vote, has paper ballots that are actually counted, has polling places that are open, that don't require standing in line for 8 and 9 hours, as happened all over the United States in the last presidential election. I don't feel passionately at all about this, Cary.
I know that.
Can you tell?
I know that.
All right.
And so that's why I'm glad we talked about it, because your foam is coming out of your ears and mouth. Just you're in a comatose state.
Yes.
And this is good. And as we close this segment, it's important to remember that when in doubt, head out. That voting actually works if you do it in sufficient numbers. Right. So your job is to get together with your neighbors and everyone else and just show up and do it, because guess what? It scares the hell out of the bad people, because they don't want you to vote, and they've made it almost impossible, bringing back Jim Crow laws. There are sheriffs in the South that when you show up on the polls on Tuesday tell you, oh, it's next Tuesday. And they are by law allowed to say, oh, I made a mistake. I looked at the wrong day on the calendar. That part's not illegal. So we know all the tricks, but what they don't know is there are now millions and millions of kids from 18 to 25 who are going to show up. And that's the good news, and we're here just to vote yes. Vote yes on that behavior. Harrison with you, Mercy Malick here with you. This is Reality Check Live. More straight ahead.
Got it. Good.
Alrighty.
I have like 7 more segments on that I could do. Like the Obama's last election, when I showed up in Nevada where I was assigned to, and they had stacks of the flyers that said your voting day has been changed to Wednesday, that they've been pulling out, the doors, and then the coordinator in Nevada telling in a group orientation, okay, the vote can be hacked to this percentage, so we need to win by this percentage. And people being like, the vote's gonna be hacked? Yeah, the vote's gonna be hacked. So here's a percentage we need to win by.
You ready, Vic?
Yeah. You go.
Good heavens.
It's frightening.
It's still rolling.
Okay. And Gunilla
Yes.
is holding the camera. And I'm just going to turn around so you can see Gunilla. She is our fabulous intern from Sweden, UCLA, A student. A student.
Yes, that is correct.
Only the best. All right, back to you.
Thank you. Look at Mercy's pants.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes, let's-
Do that's like my fancy
Now
pants.
look at this.
I'm 2 weeks running with Animal Print Club, and I only own
Let's move
3
in and get a
items.
look.
So next week, if I
Golden.
I have that animal print skirt I wore last week. I have these animal print pants, and then I have some animal print shoes. Oh, and some earrings. I'm giving you the pageant turn, the QVC situation.
You're going to use your
Yeah.
stage
You are
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Okay.
Hi.
Stage voice.
Order
is the one
item
where
number.
the
I have no
crowd
idea
is
how that
out there.
works.
Like when you do an announcement.
I just I don't know what I got.
This is us playing behind the
That's your
scenes.
stage voice. So you're going to blast it because I'm a loud bastard.
Okay. How much should I refer to this?
You already know the story. You know it by heart. So we're going to talk about it. And
Okay.
more importantly, what does it mean?
Okay.
Because that's the kind of the point.
Okay.
Can I ask you 2 quick questions?
Yes, honey.
One is, do you need me anymore today? Because we're about to drive up to do a kids camp.
Go do the kids camp.
Okay, cool. And item number 2.
You're fabulous.
Are you? You're
fabulous, honey.
fabulous.
You're
Feel free to
fabulous.
reel me in anytime I get off the
Fabulous.
rails. Mwah. Second question: are you booked on Cinco de Mayo all day?
I'd have to look at my
Yeah,
calendar.
I know. I hate when people ask me if I'm free and then they tell me
Right.
what it is.
Like,
I'm
what are you
I
doing?
don't want to do that
I like.
anyway.
What are you doing Thursday
What
night?
is it? Yeah. Maybe something
Yeah.
I don't want to do. So one of my fellow teachers and I are running a concept launch of pole yoga.
Polga?
Yeah.
Pole yoga.
Yes. So I don't know if you would be interested in like coming to like do a little interviews of the people or something like that. I don't know if that would be like as a
Interesting.
community, like humorous community
Let's
activity.
talk
kind of thing,
more
but
about
I'll
it.
Send you, yeah.
Polga.
I'm not gonna. I won't bother you with like all of the stuff if you're like, no, I'm gonna be in a sombrero, like covering the parade in Duarte or
Are
something.
you doing
like
it here
that.
in town?
Yeah, it's in West LA,
Polga.
like 4:30 to 6:30.
Okay.
on
Well, let's see what we
Saturday.
can do.
Yeah, I'll just plan. Yeah, if you were like, no, I'm in, Madagascar, then I won't bother you.
Can I go to Madagascar?
I really want you to go to Madagascar. Do
Do you know about the?
Can I come?
Do you know about the dreaded Madagascar hissing
cockroach? Yeah, people wear them as brooches.
They are they're south of Tampa Bay, Florida, because that's where the Ringling Brothers Circus used to winter by rail. They would come down, and for decades, that's where their winter was. And now all the Bearded Lady and Lobster Boy and their children are all in this town called Gibsonton. It is the freak show capital of Earth.
Gibsonton?
Gibsonton.
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 getting
And
it?
with that,
Yes.
of course, not only were those people wintering down there, but all the weird creatures of the world are part of the circus. One of them is the Madagascar hissing cockroach, the dreaded Madagascar. Why does it hiss? It's about 6 inches long. It's a vile. It's
'Cause it's angry.
Paraponetta americana. It's a disgusting, huge cockroach. And if you get it into the corner, it will literally stand up on its hind legs, spread its wings, and hiss at you. It is the most frightening creature that ever lived.
And people wear them as brooches.
Yes.
I think
They
actually
attach, like,
all
little
cockroaches hiss, but they don't do it loud enough.
Do
for
they
us.
hiss in Sweden?
We don't have cockroaches. in
Exactly.
Sweden.
Yes!
Nordic-
Let's all move to Sweden.
Yes,
Well,
they do.
Best
No,
pitch I've
they
ever
just
heard
have an
for
accent.
Sweden.
We don't have those in Sweden.
Well, I have never seen a cockroach
Of
in
course not.
Sweden.
They don't
Of
like
course
cold
not.
places.
Well, they
But
have
I think all cockroaches actually hiss, but they do it very silently. So very, what do you call it?
More politely. Like,
More politely, so you
subtly.
can't hear it. But since
Subtle
these
hiss.
Madagascar ones are so big, you can hear it.
Well, it's part of their thing.
They are just
I've
angry.
never heard another cockroach.
They're
hiss.
just
Well,
angry
if
cockroaches.
it's in their name, it must
Yeah.
be a special kind of hiss.
What do I know?
You've never seen a cockroach, honey, because you're from Sweden.
I
they don't
have
have
seen-
them.
She's seen them now. She
Cockroaches.
lives in LA now.
I've
I've
seen
seen
cockroaches. We have rats in Sweden, though. Big rats.
Rats are everywhere.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, you have Rattus norvegicus, which is the dreaded.
Those are the Norwegian
Those
rats.
are the ones we have in the United States. They came
Yeah.
over on ships,
All
so
right.
they come from your part of the world.
I thought you just made that up.
No. Then there's Rattus rattus. Rattus rattus was the one that caused the Black Death and wiped out most
But
of
new
Europe and most
science
of the world.
says that it had nothing to do with the rats. The plague.
Well, it was the fleas on the rats.
Let's do a story on it next week.
Yeah, because we thought it was the rats. The fleas on the rats.
I read
the
that-
rats were conveyance vehicles for the fleas.
They were like the buses.
They were the buses. They were the transportation.
Because they were Norwegian, they ran on time. Oh, woo! Bring it back around. Yes.
All right.
Okay.
So,
Nothing more to see here. On my way out the door.
Well, why don't you walk out in the hallway and see what's going on?
You know what? One
live
day,
streaming the hallway?
Well, it beats.
Do you know what we can do one day? We're gonna play "See What's in Mercy's Purse,"
Oh,
and
you wanna do that
that'll
now?
kill. I gotta go to the kids' camp. Yeah, that'll kill a good 3 hours.
I like that your purse is actually a
Satchel.
duffel bag.
It's kind of almost like that. Well, it can fit
The
in my
green
pocket.
room where no action is taking place whatsoever.
And I've got it like my computer.
Cary Harrison, preventing truth decay.
Truth Decay.
On RealityCheckLive.org.
Oh, are we streaming?
Yes, we are. Look, it's Tony.
Hello.
Tony. Very professional.
Professional.
What was that?
Professional.
Professional. A new word was just invented.
A new wrong word.
It's been a while. Good. You swallow my gum.
No, don't swallow
Don't
it.
swallow it, honey. He just swallowed his gum.
Why'd you do that?
There's no time to go to the trash can.
Oh my gosh.
And I refuse to be one of those people that speaks with gum in their mouth.
You could have spit it out in my hand.
No. Thank you for the offer.
It's not good for your stomach
I know.
to swallow gum.
Do you want to throw it up?
Will I get skinny?
It could happen.
Let's
Like-
do it live.
Like a mama bird.
All right, so I'm going to hit record. And whenever you're ready.
Cary Harrison here with you. This is Reality Check Live, realitychecklive.org. Social media at RealityCheckLV. LV stands for live. At RealityCheckLV. Vic Gerami here with me. This is, of course, the Queer Frontier. And network news, MSNBC, very popular for many millions of people. Joy Reid, the person of color on there, the female anchor. Boy, is she in trouble now. And apparently she has been, shall we say, giving terminological inexactitudes. In other words, lying about her blog entries, which were vastly homophobic.
Right. And interesting thing is that last year when some of her entries from 2007 to 2009 came up, she did the right thing. She came up and owned them and apologized and said, I'm sorry. And, we do forgive those that accept responsibility. And people change. We've had a lot of people who've come a long way in the last 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
But when new entries came up recently, she denied them. And then she blamed it on hackers and blamed it on people trying to falsify her old blog, etc. FBI was called in to investigate, and she pointed out a cybersecurity expert who was going to sort of like prove that they were all hacked, but he was not able to bring any evidence to prove otherwise.
Yes, so here we have basically somebody who is supposed to be the representing the people, with clear facts, and she's got, and we're all human, so we all have opinions about this and that. It's one thing just to be a bigot. That's okay. Own it. But don't say you're not and do it at the same time. That's the part that's called integrity. So if she just thinks that gay people are awful and that straight people, as she puts it, are intrinsically homophobic, which we know there are straight people who are actually not intrinsically homophobic, just like there are white people who are intrinsically not bigots that way. It's true. Some of us have even dated people of color. Notice how I said it that way, which might indicate something that I may or may not have done. That said, it's her job as a person of the media, because she's a public personality, to get busted when she does that. And this is where we're preventing truth decay here on the Queer Frontier.
Yeah, and I think, American people, we're very forgiving. As long as someone owns up to it, we're very forgiving. But if we feel like our intelligence is being questioned, then that's a different story. PFLAG, the organization that's an ally, families, friends, and allies of LGBTQ, they took back the award they'd given her or planned to give her, and the Daily Beast suspended her column. And these organizations do due diligence, and they do their research before they do something drastic like that. So, all evidence points that the blog entries were real, and let's see what happens.
Well, and also GLAAD, everyone knows about GLAAD, G-L-A-A-D. They're the organization that's supposed to be the Anti-Defamation League. As the Jewish people have, GLAAD is supposed to be the one for LGBTQ, and they've sat silent on this. Why?
Well, gay and lesbians against Alliance Against Defamation. The name itself is a little outdated.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not just gay and lesbian anymore. We are LGBTQ+. And so that's another story. However, GLAAD has been very silent about this, and it's been kind of deafening. And it's been a habit of GLAAD to sort of like stay silent on issues like this that are really at the top of the news. And so I looked it up.
Yeah.
Guess what?
What?
MSNBC is a partner.
How do you like
and they're
that?
a sponsor and a supporter
And part of
GLAAD.
Comcast.
So they're sort of like, exactly. In fact, on their website, it's Comcast MSNBC that's credited. Therefore, they're not going to say a word. And this is sort of like a problematic of the nonprofit industrial complex, where they become so big and such a machine, and they have so many partners and intertwined that they're no longer really accomplishing their mission, because they don't want to offend the supporters and
donors
and
their
such.
fabulous big TV show they do every year, where they give awards to people that sometimes should not be getting them.
Yes.
And that's sort of the plot of the play. If you have any questions or comments, feedback, would love to hear it. Simply go to realitychecklive.org, or you can tweet us at realitychecklv, and stay in touch with Vic and let us know what's going on the radar so we can talk about it here. Harrison with you. This is, and I'll edit this, Queer Frontier with Vic. More ahead. Oof, done.
Got it.
You did good.
How was that?
It's perfect.
It's louder, right?
It was louder?
I was louder.
Oh, yes. His levels were good, right?
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
Sounded good.
Excellent.
Okay.
That easy and fun?
Yeah.
It's our favorite kind.
I like easy.
Favorite kind.
I love that we talked about GLAAD.
I know.
You remembered it. I didn't even because I wasn't looking at my notes.
I remembered what we talked about.
Yeah.
GLAAD, seeing as we are live streaming, we all remember Glenn Beck. Remember Glenn Beck?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we all remember Glenn Beck. So there was a guy who was in charge of their media relations at the time. We're just going to do one more quickie, Tony.
Okay.
Not right
I'm just
this
going to make
second.
sure they're okay with it.
Do your thing, honey. So I was in Tampa, Florida, which is where WFLA radio is, which is where I started. It's a talk radio station. It's where Rush Limbaugh was on, and they developed Glenn Beck. They developed Dr. Laura. They made Rush famous because it still is a headquarters for Clear Channel. So this is where I got my talk radio experience. And so I was back there on vacation. I was driving around, and Glenn Beck was on the radio. and I'm listening to this shit. And if you've ever heard this guy, it was Wednesday is Hump Day in Key West, where all the gays are humping each other or something. Now, you know, freedom of speech is great. It's all funny, but, you know, he was inciting people to go kick ass. That's where we crossed the line, which is why in the First Amendment, free speech, the Supreme Court has smartly ruled you're not allowed to yell fire in a movie theater. It's not that you shouldn't be able to yell fire, it's that people get up and trample each other and people die. Right. So it's no longer freedom of speech, it becomes an act of violence. Right. So it's the same thing if you're using a public platform like radio, inciting violence. So I call up my friend, who's the communications director of GLAAD, and I held my phone next to the car speaker as I'm driving. And you're hearing Glenn Beck just foaming at the mouth and inciting rednecks. You can hear the pickup trucks in the background firing up, the shotguns getting ready to go get even. And he's like, well, you know, we don't really do that kind of stuff. I said, that kind of stuff? That's
what you're supposed to do?
We are fucking funding you to do.
Right.
Millions of dollars.
Yes.
These lavish gala events and television specials and glitter. That's what you're supposed to. Well, we don't really do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Now, GLAAD does do some good work, and I've been to their events and all of that, and I've supported them. But there have been a few examples lately where they've just completely been silent. And this is just a perfect example. I mean, if this isn't defamation, I don't know what is. And if this isn't something to have some sort of a statement about, you know, I mean, at least come out and acknowledge that you are looking into it.
Do you think it's because she's African American? That's like, if she were, you know, just a white person saying it. Or is it just that it's a brand, it's part of their parent company, there's a lot of advertising dollars, and we'll just kind of let it whoosh.
Who knows? I mean, the only thing that I can see for sure doing my homework was Comcast MSNBC being a partner, which is, it's on their website, and you know, maybe they don't want to offend them. It's you know, they should be able to criticize and bring attention to any organization that they want to, regardless of whether they're partners, sponsors, or not.
Well, that's what we're going to do here. I'm standing up on purpose because we're going to swap seats with Gunilla. Vic Gerami here. We feel that it's balanced. We're neither liberal nor conservative. We just want to prevent truth decay as we're able to determine it and, you know, try to balance it out in this cuckoo country. So I'm going to take this from you, and I'm going to hand it over to Vic. Whoosh. And you...
I'm going to put on my...
You're going to put on your thing?
My thing.
Look a little bit more.
Goonie. Oh, I should give you her name, right?
I'm gonna. Do you want, I was gonna say, do you want to?
It's.
Okay.
It's spelled Gunilla, or do you want Goonie?
Gunilla is my real name, so go with that.
Go to what?
Go with my real name.
Goonie?
Gunilla.
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 Right?
Yeah.
But you know it's because nobody can say it. That's why I go by Goonie.
Last name is Larsson. Larsson.
Correct.
Son of Lars. You're the son of Lars.
Yeah, well, yeah. Kind of.
Well, the daughter of Lars, really.
Well, that would make me the daughter of Henry because my father's name is Henry. So.
Why Andy M? So at Reality Check LV. Okay.
Should I sit up like this? Like this?
Yes.
And I'm going to put this here. Wow, that actually works. Look at that. How do you like that?
That looks good.
Isn't that cool?
Very nice.
Modern technology. Okay.
Great.
Okay.
you're going to use your stage voice.
Okay.
Which, do you remember school when you were in school plays? Were you ever in a school play?
Not that much.
Were you once in a school play?
Did you want to be in a school play?
Have you ever given a public?
did.
Have you ever done any public speaking?
Yeah, I suppose.
Great. And you did it without a microphone once. You've never done it without a microphone.
Well, I have talked to big crowds when I was a waitress.
Good. So
and I needed everybody's attention.
that's right. And so they could hear you in the back of the room.
Yes.
That's how you're going to talk to me.
Okay.
Yeah. Unlike a movie set where you can whisper like this and it's all picked up. It's just a little different because radio.
Okay, I'll try to speak up.
Yeah. That's right there. That's good.
All right, so I'm going to hit record.
Cary Harrison with you. This is Reality Check Live, realitychecklive.org. Social media at realitychecklv. LV is in live, at realitychecklv. Sitting right now with our intern from UCLA. UCLA, one of the most famous universities in the world, certainly top right here in Los Angeles. And they've given us a great intern. And I just want to acknowledge our interns here. This is Gunilla Larsson from Scandinavia, from Sweden, and welcome to Reality Check Live.
Thank you very much.
Now, you are an A student.
I am, as of today, yes.
Yes,
I don't have the final grades yet, but for now, they are all A's.
So why do you want to learn radio?
Because that's the part that is missing in my education. I have done lots of print. I have freelanced and worked for newspapers and magazines. And I've done some TV production. I'm taking a TV production class right now in school. But there is no radio in the certificate. So this is the missing piece.
This is the missing. We have often been thought of as the missing link. And we're happy to tether that together. Now, radio, it's a huge industry. Of course, it competes now with podcasts and streaming services, of which we are on all, by the way, whether it's Stitcher, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Amazon's Alexa, and Spotify coming up in the next couple of weeks. So really, radio is all over the place, but we're still traditional analog, or what's called terrestrial radio, which means we use what's called an antenna. And our signal is able to break through car windshields right in the middle of the afternoon on freeways like in LA, where you have 14 million people in their cars.
That's impressive.
We break through every single windshield. And because our show airs prime time, it's exactly the right time to do it. Here's what's even better. No bandwidth issues. So when you're listening to a stream, if 10,000 people log on, it goes down to a gurgle and you get digital soup. With radio, 1 billion people could tune in, no bandwidth reduction. So we also get to work around net neutrality. Now that we know the internet is being throttled back, things are being censored and filtered out, with radio, we don't have that problem.
That is a scandal, by the way.
Yes, it is a scandal. And it affects the whole world.
Yes, it
Scandinavia,
does.
your people, the Swedes.
Yes, it does. But people back home don't know that.
Go ahead and elaborate.
Well, net neutrality is something that is talked about in the States a lot.
Yeah.
But back home in Scandinavia, people don't even think about that. They don't think it could be a problem that net neutrality is reduced in the States.
Well, and since we control and are the gatekeeper of much of the world's information, pretty soon you will get to buy whatever we sell you, and you'll get the information that we decide you deserve.
Exactly.
And you don't deserve to have free health care, and you don't deserve to have sleek light rail. You should have to pay a la carte for all your health care, as we do. You, as a European, you come to the United States, you don't have health care. You would pay retail for a broken arm somewhere in the neighborhood of $250,000, which is a good value when you think about it for a cast and a Band-Aid and an aspirin.
The health insurance in the States is confusing to me.
Really?
Yes,
Well,
really.
it sure isn't to me. That's very clear.
Because back home, like I try to explain to my classmates that are American, they ask me, how does it work in Sweden? Well, if I get sick, I pick up the phone and I call my doctor. I get an appointment, I go there, and he or she helps me out.
And you get repaired.
Yeah, I get
State
prepared.
of the art, too.
Yeah, and it costs me, the doctor's appointment alone costs me maybe $10 in Swedish crowns.
What if you need a new heart? Do you get a new heart?
I'm not sure because my heart is pumping still.
Not you personally, but if one needs a new heart, one gets a new heart for $10.
No, I don't think so. But the operation itself is paid by the government, I suppose.
Okay, so you still pay your $10.
Well,
maybe you pay 20.
Maybe you pay 20 or 30 because I think you have to see the doctor more than once.
Okay, so really we're just paying for $10 doctor
but
visits.
It's not that you have to pay millions and millions for an open heart surgery,
right?
Or a transplant. My cousin, he has a new liver because he has been sick for many years, and now he got a new liver a couple of years ago, and as far as I know, they did not pay much for that.
How much do you think they paid?
I don't want to speculate, actually, but I mean, it's very different from the States when if you have a bad liver and you need a transplant, it's going to ruin your economy forever.
Yeah. So what you do is you do
It's
what
not
Larry
like that.
Hagman, a famous actor from the show I Dream of Jeannie and then later Dallas, you simply...
JR.
JR. And you guys know about him in Sweden.
I love Dallas.
You simply build a wing on a hospital that's a liver transplant wing, and suddenly and magically, you're in first place for a new liver. It has nothing to do with having built it. Harrison with you. I just want to thank you, Gunilla Larsson. She's our A student from UCLA.
Well, I'm thanking you for having me.
Well, we are thrilled to have you aboard. And if you're a student and you'd like to join us here on Reality Check Live and be part of the public radio system as well as our NBC stations, we'd love to have you aboard. We'd love to teach you how to do this and give you access to real world experience. All you have to do is go to realitychecklive.org, realitychecklive.org. Reach out to us and we will make it happen. Cary Harrison with you. This is Reality Check Live. More ahead.
RealityCheckLive.org.
Today we went into studio here at Sunset Gower Studios with Cary Harrison, and we shot some Reality Check Live.
That was the Breitbart people I interviewed. The big cheese of Breitbart. The Jewish guy who defends Steve Bannon. He took over Steve Bannon's job at Breitbart. So because he's a big deal, so there's going to be lots of online stuff, screen grabs that we can take that help people know who he is and also support people that do know who he is in making them feel part of his family by those familiar things that are him, his brand. Jay's camera's great. Look at that depth of field.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was great.
That was a nice beat you gave between cutting to this.
Thank you.
So then you just cut to him. Full screen. That's cool.
Today I'm at Sunset Gower. We did a little studio project with Cary Harrison with Reality Check Live, and I'm just honored to be here working with the team, and I just can't wait for the next time we do more exciting stuff. Woo-hoo.
Do you mind? I'm listening to the radio.
This is where the magic happens.
Oh, shut up!
Cary Harrison. Preventing truth decay. Truth decay. Reality Check Live.
Listen, well, it's still legal.
No need for TV to win all the Emmys and recognition. It's public radio standing up for the rest of us.
Ask yourself, who is really the friend of women and the LGBT and LGBT community? I will tell you who the better friend is, and someday I believe that will be proven out bigly.
Go! Reality Check Live. Our powerful Rolodex is a pantheon of progressive pundits and celebrities like Jane Fonda.
How do you stay active and not get too bummed and too depressed and stick your head in the sand and
because
go
I'm
away?
part of movements and I see people changing around me all the time.
Senator Sanders, it's no secret that millions of people love and adore you. Looking forward to 2020, is there news you could share with people?
It is very premature to be talking about an election in 3 years.
What RealityCheckLive.org.